Hey everybody, I'm Jack again, back here with my drawing video series. Basically, if you were here for the last video, you saw where I started basically a barbarian warrior from my primeval characters that I've been doing for this month. But what I wanted to do is basically start the video again, so I wanted to bring you guys in to let you take a better look at how we go a little bit further, because we've kind of started, if you remember the last video, we started with circles. And like I said, some people who want to be artists, they'll go out and they'll spend like a fortune trying to get all the best tools. I'm kind of old school that, I'll draw with whatever I find. And this is not even, I think I've got a HBC black pencil. Very little eraser left, but that's not really what I'm looking for. Like I said, with my drawings, what I do, I don't start like trying to finish, especially if I know I'm going to color it. I basically make sure that I'm going to put down the line work that I want to be able to do ink off of. And since this is kind of an initial drawing or a how to draw series, the first series I talked about the circles, as you can see on the character we got here. And then also cylinders. And I usually don't use this method much anymore. I just kind of estimate where I think things should be. And I know sometimes people may, have concerns. Oh, it doesn't look anatomically correct. When you're doing, especially like comic books and things like that, if you go back and take a look, they're not always anatomically correct. Sometimes you can stretch things or move things a little bit just to make sure it kind of brings across the message that you want to bring through with each shot. And this right here, basically, I am trying to stay at the anatomically correct, but don't get caught up in that oh, that arm's too short, this, that, and the other. Because you can see that, you can, as long as you do a skeleton first, and with that skeleton, then you make these circles and cylinders for the arms and legs, and that gives you kind of a guide of what you're going to do, and then you go from there. So I'm going to go a little bit more detailed with the pencils today. In this case, usually what I would do is I would go ahead and start doing ink right now. I wouldn't go this far as doing more stuff because I've got the basic temple. All I need is a skeleton, a frame, circles and cylinders kind of guiding what the individual is going to look like. And I'll take you in a little bit closer so you can see that. And you can see it's a little bit, but what we're going to do now is I'm going to add some stuff. So I'm going to kind of do this where you guys can see it as well. I think this guy, we're going to give him some a helmet. I like helmets. I think that was probably the first thing that somebody came up with in any scenario in any past world or any other world, that you want to have something to protect your head. And then because it is Tri-Scenario and there's big monsters, the Terror running around, he is going to have a skull from one of them bad boys. So basically taking the skull and then just putting it up there, and you can make it look kind of mean. It gives it a different dimension on it. He's got a skull on his head. And then, so I'm giving a little bit more detail than normally I would. Sometimes I'll do this with just an ink pen. But right now we're going to make it, kind of out there so people can kind of see our warrior. And we're going to do something a little different. We'll split his hair. He's got like basically two big kind of bushy braids on each side of his helmet. You can do things like give him a necklace if you want him to have a necklace. And so we're looking at more putting armor and fleshing out the character now. We can even give him a name. We can call him, I don't know what you guys would call him. I would call him, let's see, especially because of Primeval, I would go with something really basic, because I don't think names were that complex. Like, if he threw rocks really far, he'd probably get called Thrower or something like that. So this guy, he's got a sword and everything, and so we're going to call him probably something like, I don't know, you can call him Basher. He does have a sword, so he could be Cutter. Any various names that you could throw in there for if he's a protagonist. You want to really look at the name there, because if you're telling a story about this character, what you want to do is make sure that you convey kind of who this character is to your audience. Because, when you do artwork, you have to remember, especially if you're posting online, you are a performer at that point. Because what you produce, people are looking at. And if you do well or if you do bad, sometimes people will kind of judge you by that. Oh, I can see that you're doing real well. And I get those comments sometimes. People be like, hey, I've been watching you draw for the last year. You're posting stuff on Facebook, and it looks like you're doing a lot better than you did before. Which, it's kind of kind of funny when people say that, because I'm like, okay, I wasn't doing as well as I thought I was before. But, that's part of being an artist. You got to have thick skin. If you don't have thick skin, it's probably not a good profession, because some people will be mean. And, that's just the nature of the internet. People have no kind of gauge that they'll say just nasty stuff to you. I've had everybody tell me things from, making fun of dimensions, things like that. But then the funny thing is, people are making fun of your work, and you go back and you look and see what they're doing. It's like, okay, I really don't listen to critiques too much. I appreciate critiques, and don't get me wrong, I do like when people give me feedback. But if you get too caught up in what somebody has said about your work, you'll end up quitting or not getting your work done, because you're thinking too much about what somebody said other than just doing the work. I like what I heard, and I can't quote directly because I don't know when and where he said it, but I saw it that it said that Dwayne Johnson, the Rock, he basically said that he's not the strongest guy in the gym, but in his mind he says, I put in more work than everybody else in the gym. And that, I think, it does make a big difference. If you're putting in more work, you're going to be better off. And as an artist, it can happen. You can have distractions. I mean, video games can get in the way. If you like video games, you might be spending more time on a video game than you're actually spending on producing your artwork. And I'm putting a shoulder pad on him on this side, so give him a little bit more kind of protection. Like I said in the last video, I don't know if you guys watched the last video, but I said that I generally try and make warriors and things like that. And even, I know people do the scantily clad women, which I don't mind. It's decent to do that, but as long as it's in good taste. But I think also a big thing is making sure that that you're really looking at the specifics of, would somebody run around with nothing absolutely at all? Even like when you look at history, the Greeks in the movie The 300, everybody's running around with loincloths. But the one thing that they did have is they had really big shields, which that was actually correct, is that their big shields were their armor. So they might not, probably too hot there in the Mediterranean, but they had big shields that were there, kind of big defense. So I think even when you have cultures where they didn't wear a lot of armor, I think you're still going to find where people have put as much as they can get on in a given area or time frame. So that's my opinion on kind of warrior images, that you always want to throw some kind of armor on them. And I am putting a little bit more background. I think I'm going to offset and put a mountain, but it's going to be kind of like miscloaked over here. But you can see how we've taken our drawing from the very basic sketch of circles and cylinders, which you can still see, and we put it in the respect that now you can see that there's these lines of where they come from. And like I said, now we've got helmet, shoulder pad, shield, kind of middle abdomen guard, armor, maybe a big bone right here to kind of set that off. And then he's got like basically a loincloth and some other stuff, padding on his knees, because I think that even if you didn't have all the armor on, you would still have a character that would come out kind of set up like that. So this is the second part of the video, and you kind of see what I've done here with him, and brought him to a little bit more of a solid figure. So sorry for my mismanagement. I'm a low speed, low tech, because I'm an old guy. I'm not as fast as some of the new guys that's doing like editing and all this stuff. But sometimes I think it's the more important thing is getting the message out there, because there might be people that can actually use the information. And that's what I'm trying to do, is I'm basically trying to get that out there, because I've had people ask me questions about, how do I do this? How do I do that? And I figured, the best way to kind of get that information across is to do a video series that kind of talks that through. Now, I do also have a book that I'm putting with this, because pretty much everything I do, I put out in multiple forms, way of publishing everything all at once. Now, a friend of mine, actually, it's kind of funny. I saw this on Facebook this morning. He had one of his drawings stolen by somebody, which is just, kind of bad juju. I will talk about that more of a business aspect, because his question is, what could he do if somebody stole his artwork? Screen capture off of Facebook or whatever, because people do it all the time. I'm sure somebody's done it to my work. In fact, I've had some people send back the work, like something they didn't like, or they wanted to do a different kind of style to it. So they either ran it through a computer or whatever, and then send a copy, which I appreciate them sending me a copy. I don't endorse any copies of my work, though. I mean, they can do fan art if they want to. I can't stop people from doing that, but I don't endorse it. So I'm not saying, hey, it's free to take my stuff. And I'm very clear when I talk to people about that. I tell them that this is not, I can't endorse that, because you don't work for me, I don't work for you. I mean, there's no contract between us. So, and a lot of my artwork that I put out, I actually don't put out the actual finished image. When I put stuff out, it's technically still a work in progress. So, because I've came back and made complete overhauls of some work after the fact, just because I do want to get it out there, because I like kind of, that entertainment value of people seeing, and I do it like consistently, like to keep people kind of engaged. And that's more the business side of it, is I put things out probably around 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. But like I said, I've got a day job, so it's not as easy for me to just jump out there and just take the day off and do nothing but artwork. Wife wouldn't want that happening either. You got to do some other stuff around here at the house, which is true. We all got that life we live, but that's just how things are. We have to keep jobs. We have to keep, family happy. So my artwork is a sideline hobby right now, but it's a hobby that has helped out in some ways. Some people like my work. Some people brought my work. So just get out there. And if you're interested in art, if you like doing art, by all means, stay tuned. Like I said, I'm not one trick pony. I will basically keep putting the videos out, and we'll move through kind of the process of artwork as we go. It might get a little bit longer in the later days, because my plan is with these art series is I'm going to go through, and right now we're in pencil right now. Next will be pen, and then go into different types of coloring, and then we'll do another project that after that will then go to another dimension, like say for instance watercolor, or acrylics, or pastels, or charcoal. So we're basically going to go through the whole gambit. I have experience with all of it. It's just little projects. Some are smaller projects than the bigger projects. I've done more lately just because it's faster to do pencil and pen and colored pencil and get it out. And that's the reason I've been going fast, and the reason I do this is that if you're going to do like a comic book or anything like that, it's very easy to say you're going to get it done, but the thing is that you've got time constraints that you have to meet. So if you're working for somebody who's paying you to produce pages, you need to be on time with producing pages. If you can't be on time with producing pages, it's probably not the business that you want to get into. But timeliness is something that is very present in every business. But anyway, this is video number 2. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll be putting some more videos out, but and we'll carry on with our barbarian guy. I think I'm going to call him Two Tails, since he's got 2 ponytails on the back of his helmet. So that's what his name is actually going to be. So Everybody, like I said, like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification button if you want to hear more. Thank you. Have a nice day.